Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a 30-minute Vinyasa Flow, something to give us a bit of energy, build a bit of heat, and just to get ourselves up and ready and raring to go. We're going to be doing sun salutations, a bit of a full body stretch, and then at the end I'm not going to do a Shavasana because at the moment it's starting to get a little bit chilly in this room. So by all means, as always, come into your Shavasana, pause the video, stay for as long as feels comfortable or as long as you have time for, and just chill out after your practice today. So let's get started. I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, let's begin. So we're going to start today's practice by coming to standing at the top of our mat. So again, not right at the very top of the mat, we're just going to take like a step back, bring your feet hips width distance apart, arms down by the sides, palms nice and open, head and shoulders nice and relaxed. Maybe to give yourself a couple of shoulder rolls where you lift the shoulders up towards the ears and roll them back, just to kind of release any tension before we start, making sure we're fully nice and relaxed before our practice today. Close down the eyes if that feels good, and we're just going to focus on our breath to begin with here. So taking an inhale for 4 and an exhale for 4. Just begin to feel yourself feeling nice and grounded through both feet, so equal weight between both feet. And just focus on those nice inhales and exhales, slowing everything down before we start. Take a few more rounds of breath here. And then when you're ready, blink open the eyes. Just going to inhale the arms up, look towards our thumbs, take an exhale as we forward fold. Inhale, come to flat back half lift. Your palms might be to the mat, they might be on the thighs, or you might want to grab a couple of blocks here, just to bring the floor a little bit closer. And on the exhale, we're just going to fold forward again. Take an inhale, step ourselves back, moving through plank pose, tucking the elbows in towards the side of the ribs, coming to upward facing dog, and exhaling into downward facing dog. This is the first downward facing dog of our practice today, so pedal out those legs, maybe have a slight bend in the knees, bend through the elbows, bring the gaze towards the tops of the thighs, and just try and be really mindful of your neck and your shoulders being nice and relaxed here. We'll stay here just for a couple of rounds of breath. And then on the next inhale, lifting the heels. As you exhale, put a bend through the knees, gaze comes towards the palms. We're going to gently step ourselves to the top of the mat, coming back into the half lift. Again, palms onto the mat, palms onto the thighs. Take a big inhale, exhale to come to forward fold, and inhale to rise all the way back up to standing. Bring the hands to prayer at heart center. Again, repeating, so inhale, arms up, look towards your thumbs, exhaling to forward fold. Inhale to half lift, gaze comes forwards. As you exhale, step both feet back, lower yourself down through plank position. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhaling back into downward facing dog. And again here, just pedaling out the legs. Have your feet hips width distance apart, gaze towards the navel or the tops of the thighs. Have your wrists in line with your shoulders, or shoulder width distance apart, sorry. And just take a few rounds of breath here. Again, maybe sort of nodding the head, giving the head a shake from side to side, just to gently release any tension. And on the next inhale, lifting the heels. Exhale to put a bend through the knees, gaze comes towards the palms. Either walk, step or jump to the top of the mat, coming back into our half lift, gaze comes forwards. Exhaling to forward fold, And inhale as we rise all the way back up to standing and hands to prayer at heart center. I'm going to move on to some sun salutations being now. So we're just going to add on. So as you inhale, drop the bum down, come into chair pose. Gaze comes up towards the palms. Exhale back into the forward fold. Inhale to half lift, flat back, gaze comes forwards. As you exhale, stepping back, lowering down onto the mat. Inhaling to upward facing dog and exhaling to downward facing dog. From here, turn your left toes out, bring the right foot forward, rise up into warrior one, so gaze comes up towards the thumbs. Exhale as you bring the palms to the mat, with the right leg back, lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale to downward facing dog. Repeating on the left side, so turn the right toes out, bring the left foot forward, bending through the left knee, rising up into warrior one, gaze comes up. And as you exhale, bring both palms to the mat, stepping back, lower down through chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog, and exhaling to downward facing dog. So just going to take a nice couple of inhales and exhales here. Body should start to get a bit warmer. Everything starts to speed up a little bit, so just make sure you're very mindful of your breath. Coming back to that, inhales and exhales. And when you're ready, take an inhale to lift your heels. Exhale, bend through the knees, gaze comes towards the palms. Walk, step or jump to the top of the mat. Half lift, gaze comes forwards. Exhaling into our forward fold. And as you inhale, we're going to put a bend through the knees. Keep the bum down. We're going to come back up into chair pose. And as we exhale, we're just going to move straight into the next round. So bring the palms back to the mat, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, gaze comes up. Exhale, stepping back, lower down through chaturanga, tucking the elbows into the ribs. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhaling to downward facing dog. Take an inhale, turn the left toes out with the right foot forwards. Rise up, warrior one, gaze comes up. Exhale, bring the palms to the mat, step back, lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Again on the left, so turn the right toes out, bring the left foot forward, rise up, warrior one. And as you exhale, palms to the mat. Stepping ourselves back, lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhaling to downward facing dog. Whew, so we can really focus on our breath, slow everything down again. His body should start to feel nice and warm now. Everything should start to feel a bit better. You're in your downward facing dog. You might still want to pedal out the legs. Spread the fingers wide. Bringing your gaze towards your navel. And just chilling out here for a couple of breaths. And when you're ready, take an inhale to lift your heels. Exhale to put a bend through the knees, gazes forwards. Exhale to walk, step or jump to the top of the mat. Half lift, bring the gaze up. Exhale to forward fold. And inhale to rise all the way back up through chair pose. And then exhaling to standing, hands to prayer at heart center. So from here we're going to move on to some bit of sun salutation C. So we're going to move through our vinyasas again. So as you inhale, come back up into chair pose. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, half lift, gaze comes forwards. Exhale, stepping back, lower down through chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhaling to downward facing dog. On the next inhale, turn the left toes out, bring the right foot forward. We're going to rise back up into warrior one. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths. So you want to have your feet on 2 different railroad tracks on your mat. Bring a bend through the right knee. Gaze comes up towards the thumbs. And you want to have your knees stacked over the ankle here. hips facing towards the top edge of the mat. Just making sure the neck and shoulders are still nice and relaxed. You don't want to kind of have your shoulders up towards the ears, creating any tension. You just want to kind of bring them back down and just relax a little bit here. From here, we're going to come into Warrior Two. So bring the right foot back so that your heels are in one line. Still having the bend with the knee stacked over the ankle with the right knee. Arms to a T. Bring the gaze over the front middle finger. And again, we stay here for a few breaths. Again, relaxing the shoulders down. Being mindful not to let the right knee fall out. You want to kind of keep that drawing in towards the midline. From here, reverse warrior. So flip the right palm up, bring the left palm down. Gaze comes up towards the right palm. Still keeping the bend through the right knee here. Both legs are nice and strong. Really feeling the stretch through the side body. And as you exhale, we're just going to gently flow. Bring the left palm over. And again, repeating, coming back into reverse warrior. So bring the right palm up and over. Gaze comes up towards the right palm. Left palm slides down the left leg. And as you exhale, just doing that little flow movement again. Bring the left palm over. We'll just do that one more time. So inhale the right palm up and over the head. And as you exhale, just coming back into Warrior Two, arms to a T. Interlace the fingers behind the back. And as you exhale, we're going to drop the chest down towards the top corner of our mat, coming into Humble Warrior. So really broaden through the chest here. Keeping both legs nice and strong and active. Gaze comes towards the inner thighs, or towards the navel. Crown of the head, reaching towards the top corner of the mat, lengthening through the spine. And on the next inhale, coming all the way back up to stand. We're going to come back into Warrior One pose. So gaze comes up towards the thumbs. And as we exhale, just straighten out the front right leg. Your feet are still going to be on your two separate lines here. Maybe bring the back foot in slightly. And as you exhale, we're going to come into pyramid pose. So we're just going to stretch, bring the palms forwards towards the front right leg. Leading with the chest, not with the head. Lengthening through the spine here. You want to kind of have the belly so that it's resting on the top of the thigh. Option as well to grab your blocks and to place your hands on the blocks here. We'll take a couple of breaths here. Really feel the stretch through the back of the leg, through the hamstrings, through the glutes. Take one more round of breath. And we're just going to move this into a revolved triangle pose. So you might hear, you can still keep hold of one of your blocks. I just want to make your stance slightly wider here between both feet. Keeping your left palm onto the block or onto the mat. We're going to take an inhale, and as we do, we're just going to raise the right arm up and over, really broaden through the chest, taking a twist round to the right hand side. Try not to let the hips here come out to the side, come out to the right hand side too much. You want to kind of keep them within the midline. Just reaching up. Broadening through the chest. Gaze towards your palm. And on the exhale, bring both palms to the mat. We're going to rise up into crescent lunge here. So bring the stance a little bit wider, bending through the right knee. Inhale, arms up, look towards your thumbs. And as you exhale, bring both palms to the mat. Stepping back, lower down, chaturanga. Inhaling to upward facing dog and exhaling to downward facing dog. We're just going to take a nice few long breaths here just to refocus before we repeat on the left hand side. So again, focus on your inhales and your exhales, pedaling out the legs, Nodding the head, say yes. Giving a little shake, say no. And maybe here, take one big inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Just to let everything go. And again, inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. When you're ready, turn your right foot out, bring the left foot forward, rising up into warrior one. Gaze comes up towards your thumbs, bending through the front left knee, knee stacked over the ankle. Few rounds of breath. And on the exhale, opening up into warrior two. So bring the heels onto one line, gaze comes over the front middle finger, hips square towards the long edge of the mat. Couple of rounds of breath. And then reverse warrior. So flip the left palm up, bring the arm up and overhead. Right palm slides down to the right leg. Gaze comes up towards the left palm. As we exhale, we're just going to flow a little bit. Switching arms, bringing the right palm up and over. Inhaling to reverse warrior. And exhaling. Bring the right palm up and over. From here, come back into our warrior two. Interlace the fingers behind the back. From here, we're going to take an inhale as we broaden through the chest, puff the chest forwards. And as we exhale, we're just going to fold down towards the top right-hand corner of the mat. You might want to bring the stance a little bit wider here, just so that you've got a little bit more base to give yourselves something to balance, a little bit more stability. Lengthening through the spine, reaching forward with the crown of the head. And then on the inhale, coming all the way back up, rising up into warrior one. And as we exhale, straightening through the left leg, bring the palms down to the mat, pyramid pose. So again, leading with the chest, not with the head, really feeling that stretch through the backs of the glutes, through the hamstrings. Really feeling the length through the spine here. If it feels good, come a little bit deeper. Bring the chest to the top of the thigh. Option to grab those blocks again, just to bring the ground a little bit higher. And make the pose a little bit more comfortable. And then from here, keep the right palm down. Maybe bring your stance a little bit wider, so bring the right foot out slightly. Take an inhale as you bring the left palm up, coming into revolved triangle pose. Broadening through the chest. Gaze comes up towards the left palm, strong through both legs. Again, trying not to let the left hip come out to the side too much, trying to keep that pulling in so that your hips are in line with the front edge of the mat there. And then as you exhale, bring both palms to the mat. We're going to step ourselves back, lower down through chaturanga. Inhaling to upward facing dog. And exhaling to downward facing dog. And again, in downward facing dog, just pedal out those legs. Have your feet hips width distance apart, maybe bringing a little bend through the elbows. Gaze towards the navel. And then from here, we're just going to gently walk our feet towards the palms. Bring your feet so that they're a little bit wider than hips width distance apart. We're going to grab hold of the elbows and just let the body hang here. Feel nice and relaxed. Should feel a stretch through the backs of the legs here as well.
Maybe gently sway yourself from side to side. Couple more breaths. And then on the inhale, let the palms drop to the mat. We're just going to gently roll ourselves back up to standing. Let the arms continue all the way up overhead. Gaze comes up towards the palms. And then as you exhale, we're just going to do the forward fold again. Take an inhale into our half lift, flat back. And then exhaling to step ourselves back. We're going to lower down through chaturanga again. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhaling to downward facing dog. So we'll just stay here for a couple of rounds of breath. And then we're going to move on to a supported headstand. So if headstand is new in your practice, then you come into child's pose, take shavasana a little bit earlier, and just hang out there for a bit. And if you are familiar with supported headstand, then by all means feel free to go on ahead and just hang out there for maybe like a count of 10 breaths, or however you feel feels good for you today. So we're just going to stay here for a round of breath. And then just drop the knees. We're going to come into tabletop and then come to sitting on our heels. Now we're going to move through into supported headstand. So if supported headstand isn't in your practice, then come into child's pose, come into shavasana and just hang out there for as long as feels good for you in today's practice. And if supported headstand is part of your practice, then by all means head on up and hang out there maybe for a count of 10 breaths, or again however feels good, and then come back down and we'll all eventually meet in child's pose. So if you're coming with me for a supported headstand, we're going to come into tabletop position. And we're just going to drop the forearms down. Now, you want to have your forearms so that they're stacked under the shoulders, and you want to be able to grab hold of each elbow with your hands. So that will give you a stable base when we come to interlacing our fingers. So yeah, make sure you've got that kind of good distance there, because your arms will have tendency, like your elbows are going to kind of want to come out a little bit. So as stable as we can make that base, the better. So interlace your fingers so they create almost like a little basket with your hands. I'm just going to put the head down against the hands, and here you want to have the majority of your weight coming through your forearms and your elbows, and not coming through the crown of the head. So just be really mindful of that, and just to wherever feels good. So from here, tuck the toes under. And we're just going to come into almost like a downward facing dog with the feet. And if this feels good, then stay here. If you want to come a little bit further, just going to gently walk the feet up a little bit closer to the torso so that your hips begin to stack over the shoulders. And then just bring your right foot into the bum. Might be a little bit wobbly. And the same with the left foot. It will gradually lift off. You want to just feel as light as possible. Keep the feet tucking in. Just going to stay here for a couple of rounds of breath. And then as you release, just slowly bring one foot down first to the mat, and then the other foot, and then the knees, and then we're going to come back to sitting on our bum again. So moving on from that, we're going to go into a full supported headstand. So we're going to bring the legs completely up. So again, you want to have that shoulder width distance with your elbows. Interlace the fingers, or you can have the palms flat on the mat. Sometimes I do tend to have my hands so that they are flat but they're touching. So again, it's whatever works for you, and just do whatever feels good at the moment. So we're going to put the head down against the palms of the hands. And then we're going to do the same thing. So we're just going to gently walk the feet towards the torso so that the hips begin to stack over the shoulders. And then just going to lift one leg up and then the other leg will follow, just gently floating up towards to meet the right foot. Again, it doesn't matter if you're not completely straight here. Try and find a fixed point for your gaze. And just hang out here for about 5-10 breaths. Whichever feels good right now. Just focus on your breath. Maybe play about with the feet, so maybe point the feet, flex the feet. Just have a little play around. And then as you release, just bring the heels down towards the bum, bending through the knees. I'm going to bring one leg down first, and then the other leg. And we're just going to come back up, so bring the heels onto the bum. And from here, we're just going to do a couple of stretches through the sides. So bring your right palm down to the mat, lift the left palm up and over, stretching through the side body. As you exhale to release the left palm, inhale the right arm up and over. Gaze towards the palm. We'll do that one more time. Inhale the left arm up and over. Exhale to release. And inhale the right arm up and over. And exhaling to release. And then we're just going to fold the chest over the thighs. Going to come into child's pose. Maybe move the knees out gently to the sides just a little bit. Give yourselves a little bit of a wiggle. Let the palms rest on down the sides of the body. Forehead rests gently on the mat. And again, option to stay here. Or come down to Shavasana, laying on your back. However feels comfortable for you. Just take a few breaths here. Just to slow everything down after your practice today. Should feel nice and energized. The body should feel nice and warm. Couple more breaths. And then coming back up into kneeling. So that was it, everybody. That was today's little vinyasa flow. I hope that you've enjoyed it. As I said at the beginning, if you want to stay a little bit longer in your Shavasana, take a little bit more of a relax, then by all means feel free to go ahead and do that and really reap the benefits of today's practice. So I hope that you've enjoyed your practice today. It's great that you've joined to have a little vinyasa flow with me. I hope to see you again on the mat and have a beautiful day.